Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. I hope that you are all good. In today's video we're going to be designing a set of press-on nails, and I did these for this week's Charlie's Nail Art collaboration. The theme was seashells and it was a really fun set to do because I've not done any seashell nails before. So I have my press-on nails set up ready to go. I've already sized them and I wanted to use a gorgeous blue, so I chose Neon Prints from Kiki London, and this was my first time using this colour and I was blown away by how pigmented it is. I only ended up doing a one coat on the blue nails because it just did not need a second coat. It's such a gorgeous bright blue. I can't believe I haven't used this one before, to be honest, because I do love a blue set of nails. So I'm coming in and I'm popping this on the little finger and the pointer finger. And then on the two middle nails that I'm going to be applying my water decals to, I'm going to use Kiki London's French White. This is quite a nice classic white. They do also have another white called Coconut, which is a bit more brighter, but I wanted to add something over the top of this white before I put my decals on. So that's why I went for French White, because it's slightly softer. So I'm going to pop this down on the ring finger and the middle finger. And originally I was going to put a chrome over this, but I ended up using another Kiki London gel polish to get the pearl effect that I wanted. But I'm just going to pop that down first of all. And then on the thumb, I'm going to be using the gorgeous Tea Rose. This is my favourite nude from Kiki London at the moment. It's such a pretty colour. So I'm going to apply that to the entire thumbnail. And that's our first coat of gel polish done on all of the nails. So I'm then going to pop these in to cure. Now that I've cured those for 30 seconds, I'm going to take the Kiki London Moonlight Pearl and I'm going to apply this over the top of the French White nails. This is such a beautiful gel polish. It has a slightly sheer white base with a pearl glitter shimmer to it. It's absolutely beautiful and I love applying it over a white base. You can use it on your own or you can pop it over any colour, but I just love the pearl effect it gives off over a white. As you can see there, it's quite subtle, but it's just really pretty. And then I'm also going to do my second coat of the Tea Rose. Like I said, the Neon Prints only needed one coat, so I'm not going to do anything more to those at the moment. And then once we've got that second coat of gel polish down on the thumb, I'm going to pop these in again to cure for 30 seconds. And that's our bases done and we're ready to jump on to the nail art. So I'm going to take some of the Kiki London base coat. I've popped 2 blobs of it down on my palette, and with that first lot of base coat I'm just mixing in a fine blue glitter. So I'm using my Kiki London round brush, making sure to really get that fine glitter mixed in with the base coat, and then I'm going to apply it to the entire nail. So this is the little finger and I'm just floating that on. I don't need to worry about creating full coverage because we're just using this finer glitter here as a background for some glitter dots. I wanted this nail to be a full glitter nail and I love the glitter dots, but if I'm doing a full nail with them, I do like to have a finer glitter down underneath just so the entire nail looks super sparkly. So once I've done this, I'm going to leave this wet. I'm not going to pop this in to cure just yet. And then I'm going to take my glitter dots. These are, I think this mix is called Envy. I will double check and leave it in the description box below. But they are from Charlie's Nail Art. I love the Charlie's Nail Art glitter dots. They are amazing. And I just felt as though these particular colours would work for the set. So what I'm doing is with that other base coat that I had down on my palette, I'm dipping that into my brush and then I'm dipping into my glitter dots, picking them up and then placing them down onto the wet glitter and base coat that's already down on the nail. Now I'm trying to space them out because it's a gel polish set. I don't want to build up the glitter dots too much, and that was another reason why I put the base coat underneath. I do end up coming over the top of this with a layer of builder gel just to really make sure they do get encapsulated in. I don't want to build up this nail too much because I don't want to put an encapsulation layer down to build up any strength or structure. I just want to be able to cap those glitter dots. So once I'd made sure they were all lying nice and flat, I popped them into cure, and then I'm going to take a thin layer of the Kiki London Easy Build Up Gel and just apply this to the entire nail, just so that I can make sure we've got a nice smooth surface. And I'm then going to come in and buff this further along in the video, just because I don't like that feel of anything feeling uneven or bumpy on the surface of my nails. So by adding the layer of builder gel and then buffing, you've got a really smooth surface. I then pop that nail into Cure and we're going to work on the pointer finger. So I'm coming in and putting down a really thin layer of base coat, and then I'm using my brush to pick up my glitter dots and place them down on the nail. I didn't apply any of the finer glitter mix to this nail because I didn't feel as though it needed it for this particular design. So I'm just going to simply pick up the dots that I want to use, again making sure that they're lying nice and flat, and I'm going to fade them back down the nail. Now if you wanted that more full-on sparkly effect, you could put the finer glitter mix underneath, but when I'm doing a glitter dot fade, it just depends on how I'm feeling on the day and the design I'm wanting to do, whether I would put a finer glitter underneath. Because we've already got that blue color there, it's not necessary. Then I'm just taking some of the smaller dots, moving everything around and starting to create a bit of a fade down the nail. I like to take a little bit of time to make sure I'm happy with how all of the dots are placed. I like to make sure that there's not any or too many overlapping and things like that. Pushing them in from the sides as well, because you don't want any of them overhanging the nail. And these glitter dots look absolutely gorgeous once they are encapsulated. The clarity of the Kiki London Builder Gel is amazing, especially when you've got something like glitters in it. Just tapping them on here and there, trying to fill in some of the gaps down where I want there to be a bit more full coverage, so down at that tip area. Then I'm going to pop this into Cure, and the same as what we did on the little finger, I'm going to apply a thin layer of the builder gel just to fully coat around all of those glitter dots. And as you can see, I'm really working it over the nail so that it gets in and around all of those chunkier dot pieces. And then I did apply a little bit more down towards the tip of the nail, just because I wanted it to be really, really smooth. But as you can see, I'm blending that out so that there's not any bulkiness. I'm then going to pop that nail into Cure, and we're going to move on to the middle and ring finger. So on these, I'm going to be applying these beautiful seashell water decals. Now I'm not 100% sure where these are from, as I've had them in my nail art drawer for ages and haven't done any seashell nails, so I thought I would get these out and give them a go. So I'm cutting the water decal out as close to the image as possible. You don't really want too much excess. So I cut out, I think, 3 shells, and I'm just going to pop them to soak in some room temperature water. And then as you see, they slide off nicely from the backing paper, and I'm then placing them down onto the top of our cured gel polish. So at this point, the gel polish does still have the tacky layer, and I do find that easier sometimes to apply the water decals onto. If you don't like applying it on to the tacky layer, you can remove the tacky layer with some alcohol, but I find it a little bit easier to pop the water decals down on the tacky layer now. I just find it makes it a lot easier when it comes to getting out some of these creases, especially when you're working over a press-on nail where you've got the apex already built, or like the arch of the nail already built. So what I'm doing is, when I place that water decal down on the nail, I'm using my silicone tool to really smooth it out. And I just find this way I don't get hardly any creases. You want to make sure you get out any creases that are on the water decal, because otherwise it sticks up a little when it comes to top coating, and then it just doesn't look as nice, if that makes sense. So I like to spend as much time as I can really pressing the water decal down, smoothing it out until it's all applied nice and neatly. You want to be quite careful when you're smoothing out your water decals. Sometimes they can be a little bit fragile, and that's why I like using the silicone tool, because the end's quite soft, so you're able to apply a little bit of pressure to ease those creases out without worrying about tearing the water decal. So I've then popped those 2 nails aside just to let any of the excess water dry before we top coat them. So I'm going to move on to the thumbnail, and on this nail I was going to do just a V French. So I'm mapping out where I want my points to go, and then I'm taking my Kiki London stripe liner brush and just painting 2 lines down. This was originally how I wanted this nail to look, just a really thin V French. But then I was looking at it and I just didn't really like it, to be honest. I felt as though it didn't really tie in very much with the set. So what I ended up doing was making it more into a classic French nail, and then further along in the video I add a couple of starfish charms on. So at this point I was just thickening the lines up to see if I would like it with more of a thicker line, and then I was like, nope, let's go in and just do a classic French nail. So what I do is I'm going to come in, or I'm still at this point actually thinking that it's going to be a V French. I do like it, I just didn't feel as though it worked for this set. So I come in and just painted across the nail like I would do if I was doing a classic smile line. I kept it quite thin to begin with, and then I think because the nail was quite long, it just needed to go down a little bit further. So that's all what I'm doing here, just making that French tip a little bit wider. And I find the Kiki London Stripe liner brush amazing for doing this because you can get really nice, crisp, neat lines. So at this point I was pretty happy with the French. I'm just neatening it up here and there before popping it in to cure. And over the top of, I'm going to cure this white, sorry, and then over the top of that I'm going to come in with the Moonlight Pearl so that we get the pearl effect on this white tip like we have on the two water decal nails. So this is what I'm going to do there. I've just popped some of the white pearl down on my palette and I'm just painting over that white tip, being really careful that I stick to the French white. So I don't want to go over onto that nude. I want to make sure that I'm painting directly on top of the French white just to keep it all nice and neat. And I just love that pearl effect, and it just helped tie this nail into the other ones a little bit more. I've been working on my Glamourliz hound a lot lately. I haven't had much time to do my own nails or been able to wear anything on my own nails, so I've not had to do a thumbnail in a while. And sometimes you just get into the habit of only creating 4 nails, and unless you want to do the thumbnail the same as one of the others, it kind of can get a little bit tricky to think of what to do on the thumb. But anyway, moving back to those glitter nails, I've wiped off the tacky layer from the builder gel and then I'm just buffing the surface. And this is just going to give you a really, really smooth, even surface because you're not going to be able to feel any of those glitter dots. You don't want to over far or over buff because I only popped a thin layer down. Then I'm just going to wipe away that dust, and before top coating I decided we would add some stamping. So I'm taking this marble plate from Nicole Diary, some of my Born Pretty stamping polish, and I'm just going to stamp this marble effect down over the glitter using my lint roller just to remove any of that excess image. I do have more in-depth detailed stamping videos up on my channel, so I will try and leave some linked in the description box below, but I do think I also have a playlist full of stamping, so do check that out because I don't really go in too much detail for stamping in this particular video just because it's only 2 images over the glitter dots. So I'm going to do exactly the same again here. Now, I really love how stamping looks over glitter dots. For a long time, it was one of my absolute favourite designs to do, especially if you've done a fade with the glitter dots, because I like to just place the stamping over where the glitter dots is rather than over the entire nail. And it just gives off a bit more dimension to the nail design. So there's our stamping applied. I thought that looked really pretty. I loved the gold over the blue and the green. So that's all of our nails finished, all of the nail art and design work done. So we're ready to come in and top coat. So I'm going to be top coating using the Kiki London rubber base coat. I opted to use the rubber base coat for 3 reasons. One, it seals in stamping absolutely beautifully. You don't get any separating or any pitting in the top coat. 2, it's amazing for sealing in nail art like water decals or foils. Because it's that little bit thicker, you don't need to apply 2 coats of it to seal in any of your water decals. Some water decals, they will, it will recommend that you apply 2 coats of top coat, where I find if I'm using the Kiki London rubber top coat, I don't need that second coat because it is a little bit thicker. And then the 3rd reason that I opted to use the rubber top coat was because I wanted to add some starfish charms onto the thumbnail and I find the rubber top coat amazing for applying any embellishments or charms. So as you'll see here on the thumbnail, I paint it on as normal. It is slightly thicker and I did apply a little bit too much on this nail, so I just come in and thin that out a little bit because you don't need to apply a insanely large amount of gel. And then I'm simply going to pick up these little starfish charms. These are also from Charlie's Nail Art. I'm just going to sit them down into that wet top coat. And then once I was happy with how those starfish were positioned, I popped these in to cure for 60 seconds, and this was the finished result. I really loved how this design turned out, and it was a really fun collaboration to do with Charlie's Nail Art. If you would like to take part in any of the future Charlie's Nail Art collaborations, I will pop all of the information in the description box below, so do check that out. If you did enjoy watching this video, please do give it a thumbs up and leave me a comment below. If you're not already subscribed to my channel, I would absolutely love it if you hit that subscribe button. Also, please do let me know in the comments below what you think of press-on nails. It's not something I've done too often, but I'm really liking them for how much you can change up your nails and don't have to have them on for too long, if that makes sense. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and hopefully I shall see you all again in the next video. Lots of love. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.